Wingers, Craig Farrell and Ian Bell in the centres, Kirk Yeaman and Craig Cook the halfbacks. In the forwards for Hull, Liam Higgins, Steve Musgrave, Charles Hoggard, Chris Elliott and Luke Judson, and Sean Hill at loose forward. And on the bench, Jordan Precious, Tom Cowan, Gary Noble, Dino Locklin, the coach Steve Crooks. And Ian Chatterton is in charge of this game that means so much for the Bradford Bulls academy side. It's Hull FC who kick off through Ian Bell, and Bradford know that they've got a big task on their hands here because Hull have beaten them once already this season back at the Boulevard by 20 points to 10. So this is by no means a foregone conclusion. Now normally we'd have an England World Cup ambassador as co-commentator for the Academy show, Phil Clark, not able to join us today. We've gone up a notch. We've got the coach himself, the England coach, John Keir, but more importantly a former Great Britain Academy coach as well, John. And getting back to your roots.
Yes, it's tremendous to watch the youngsters play, especially in such a system as has produced Andy Farrell, Yestin Harris, and I'm sure that there's such stars of the future out there on view this evening.
And it's Bradford putting the kick in. And it's fielded by Chris Dunn, just 16 years old. A late call-up to this Hull side. Zach Nasser unavailable. And here goes one of their more experienced players, Ian Bell, recovered from a shoulder injury.
And the Bulls really off the line there, very aggressively. As the first grade side, it's drilled into them throughout this structure in this club. They're coming off the line, they're really giving some biff in the tackle to the Hull FC side.
It was Liam Higgins who felt that tackle, and that was Charles Hoggard on the receiving end there, and Adam Sullivan leading the way in the tackling. Humberside lad himself, but it's Hull on the attack now with Luke Judson. Judson is through, and now it's Chris Dunn, and Dunn gets away from the tackle from Stuart Reardon. That's the fifth tackle. They're on the Bradford 10 now. Aaron Smith pushing his luck there. Yeaman, and the ball goes wide to Chris Elliott. They're keeping this alive well at the moment, but it went forward, and that'll be the turnover.
Yes, a power play by the Hull Academy side there. Perhaps there'd have been better advice to go for the kick, but we see here they're trying to keep the ball alive. It's the last tackle, pressing there, but the referee called Mr. Chatterton a forward pass. Might be a little harshly, but nevertheless it's a turnover to the Bulls. They'll be looking to clear their red zone and get a good kick to get some field position deep in the Hull territory.
The captain leading the way there, Vinnie Myler. The Bulls feeling the force, and Darryl Shelford has the pressure on. Matthew Elliott alongside him. Keep an eye on how the youngsters are doing. Penalty going Bradford's way.
Two men in the tackle there, and we see Luke Judson just made that tremendous bust there, definitely reefed the ball out, and it's gave Bradford a piggyback out of their own half, and this is the first real attacking position that the Bulls have had.
Steve Crooks makes a note of that, giving away territory. The Hull FC coach. Just outside that Hull 20 now. Here is Myler once more.
Certainly a big fella, Bill, and he's catching the ball up very well, but perhaps his play the ball could have been a little quicker there.
Weston. That's good defence from Hull as Jason Bolts is brought down. Aaron Smith. The goad left. That's with Jamie Langley. Langley is tackled just short of that line. Desperate defence from Hull now. Aaron Smith. The ball's come loose, so it's gone forward. It's picked up by Myler, but... And in fact, I think
Mr. Chatterton's given rule that he was in an offside position when Smith put Bolts to ball. I believe his colleague was inside the 10 metre, and finished inside the 10 metre, so that's a let-off for Hull because they really were under the cosh in that set of six. It was a good set for the Bulls.
Maybe they should have made more of it, but they didn't. And now Hull trying to work this ball up the pitch against the Bulls side that's on a bit of a roll at the moment. They have been inconsistent this season, but they've won their last 3 games, and most recently a 44 points to 4 win at St Helens. Judson feels the force of that Bulls defence just over his own 40 metre line. of Yeaman and Craig Cook combining, and that one went forward, not combining too well.
Now they're really trying to play it very, very flat indeed and cross the advantage line. But really, Craig Farrell there, he should have taken that, but you never know, he might have called a forward anyway, so it might be justice ultimately to the Bulls.
Bradford head and feet at the scrum. Reardon, top try scorer. Smith. Good defence there from Holt. Lee Parker certainly felt that. Smith goes off. And then Jason Bolt comes onto the ball. Reardon goes on his own, slips, manages to regain his feet. That's the fifth tackle just inside that whole 10. Little kick is comfortably dealt with by Johnny Woodcock.
I'm sure Darryl Shelford won't be very happy with that though, because they did have a good field position inside the 10 metres of the Hull FC half, the Hull FC goal line, and we see there he just poked the ball through, but it was rather an aimless kick because there was no chase, and even the kicker wasn't that urgent.
Hull now having survived that early pressure, and Craig Cook puts the kick in. Reardon all the way back to field that ball. He's gone a long way across the field, Reardon, but not very far forward, because that's good defence from Kurt Yeaman.
He made a good fist of that though, did the fullback, because he got round the initial chasers, and it's allowed a quick play of the ball, and now the Bulls are carting it forward with some urgency, trying to set the field position up to launch an attack.
Myler hoping to be the launch pad for that as Aaron Smith goes. Jamie Langley from a strong rugby league family. Father John, ex-Leeds and Dewsbury, part of the Leeds 72 championship winning side, and a contemporary of Steve-O's from his Dewsbury days. The kick from Ben Weston, and Hull stand and watch, and it could be fatal, but not so. Offside against the Bradford players. That's another let-off.
Oh, Darryl Shelford, he will be spitting feathers. He'll be very disappointed with that, because all of it is laziness. We see there that Gary Peacockson had a real hack of feel in the ball, and simply if Nicky Johnson would have been 2 metres back behind the kicker, it would have been a walk inside. That's just laziness, and I'm sure Darryl Shelford at half-time will point that out to him.
So that's a couple of let-offs Hull have had. And Bradford really can't afford to be that generous. They need to win this game. 1 point not good enough. Hoggard for Hull, just inside their own 40. Again, a very flat ball, and Ian Bell took that and took the pass as well. And Darryl Shelford does look a bit perplexed by what he's seeing so far.
The Hull FC side is certainly moving the ball laterally side to side, but they're not making many inroads. I think we've just had the one butt from Luke Judson. The rest of the time they had to rely on the kicking game of Craig Cook, and that's a pretty good kick and chase from the young fella.
It is, because Reardon was pinned down then, couldn't get out of trouble, but maybe Nicky Johnson can now. Johnson's made good yards there. Udo Anyam. Beg your pardon, it's Paul White it was. Bradford just short of that halfway line now. Andy Smith takes them there. Vinnie Myler again. The fifth tackle, and Weston hoists the kick. Again, Hull guilty of standing and watching, but again, the bounce being kind to them.
Yes, both wingers, both Hull wingers, Gary Peacock and Chris Dunn, do not look happy at all under the high ball, and Obviously, Darryl Shelford has instructed Ben Weston to pepper them with it. And we see here, although he's trying to be protected by his centre Ian Bell, he just made a real hash of it, but the ball just rolled harmlessly out of bounds.
Here's Craig Farrell. Made his first team debut for Hull FC on this ground in the Super League. And what a baptism of fire that was for 18-year-old Craig Farrell. Hull get the penalty. And are Bradford getting a little bit frustrated, John?
Well, I think they're playing very conservatively, one-out stuff, but we see there that it's Adam Sullivan, and he really just pushed his luck that bit too far, holding down. They really have worked very hard, slowing the Hull FC play the ball. It's been very effective, but that's a penalty, and that's a good foothold in the Bulls half, so 30 metres away from the try line, so they'll really fancy the chance in this set of six, the Hull FC side.
Hoggard taking the ball up. One of the Scarborough recruits in this Hull side. Farrell the other one. Here's Liam Higgins. And that's moved Hull FC to just outside the Bulls 10. Bang in front of the post they were. Here's Kirk Yeaman. Strong defence that time from Aaron Smith. Vinnie Myler there as well. Craig Cook. Elliott gets the ball away. And Woodcock, I think, is in there for the try. And Hull have weathered the storm. And Johnny Woodcock was on the end there to finish off a great sweeping crossfield move. And lots to celebrate for Hull.
Yeah, great contrasting styles here. We see the Hull FC side are going lateral very early, and there's some good rugby league handling there that put Woodcock through the gap. Good hands from dummy half there. That's Steve Musgrove out to Craig Cook. And then we're looking there at Sean Hill. This is out to Elliott, and that's a lovely ball. He timed that run very well indeed, did Johnny Peacock. And look how wide they get the ball. Takes defenders out with those good passes. 3 long passes, then a nice short one. And into the gap goes Johnny Woodcock with great urgency. And unfortunately, Reardon's too late to stop him. Great start for the Hull FC Academy.
Craig Cook tries for 2 more points. He's wide of the target, but Hull have got off to a great start. And it's Bradford 0, Hull 4. Maybe looking for a 40-20 at the moment, so that could, if that had got a bit of a roll on, it would have been. But it didn't get a roll on. Instead, it's Andy Smith who's got away, and Smith trying to go all the way. He's heading back towards trouble, back towards the middle of the park, and that's where the whole defence was eventually. But great turnaround from the Bulls and from Andy Smith.
Yeah, it was top work that from the winger, because the Craig Cook was obviously looking for a 40-20, kicking from second receiver, and Smith returned it with interest, and it's a great field position now for the Bulls, and they need to just put a play or two on in this area of the field to try and get over that whitewash.
Langley gets the ball away to Sullivan. Sullivan wearing 12 and not as advertised 11, and he's just short of that line. And here is Jason Bolts. Reardon now. Reardon trying to go all the way himself and use his strength, and he's got over that line. Now then, was the tackle completed? Reardon's claiming the try, but Ian Chatterton will need a second opinion on that. And the tackle had been completed, and Reardon took one move too many.
Well, it's a contentious one this. A great run by Stuart Reardon, and Ian Bell did a fine job there, but it's difficult to say that his motion was stopped and the tackle was completed. And perhaps Stuart Reardon will feel a little harshly done by, but probably in hindsight, Mr. Chatterton made a good call after consultation with the guys out there to help him, the touch judges.
So Bradford denied. Hull remain 4 points to nil ahead. Frustration increases. Judson trying to get away from Lyons. And again, they're moving that ball out wide. Elliott.
Yeah, the Bulls will certainly know that they're doing plenty of work, Bill, because it's going side to side, and the defenders are really having to work to move with the ball, and that will obviously take it'll tire the Bulls, and hopefully it'll prevent them getting off the line as quick.
Little chip and chase from Kurt Yeaman. He's pushed that one a bit too far, but Hugo Anyam grabbed it at the second attempt. Reardon.
It's a good little enticing kick though, Bill. It really was, and he did a pretty good job, did Anyam, tidying that up, but you can just see they bounced the ball the other way, and it could have been Hull FC's possession. You never know what could have happened there.
Kurt Yeaman, who put that kick in, a member of the Great Britain train-on squad, working with Malcolm Reilly in preparation for next year's Academy World Cup. Before then, we do have the Lincoln Financial Group to look forward to. John's got his sights set on that, but this will be useful background information maybe in a few years to come.
I certainly hope so, because if we perform well in that, you never know if I'll be national coach for a year or two afterwards, Bill, and there might be some of these lads playing for us.
Here's hoping, here's hoping. Hull tidying up after the Bulls put the kick in, and the captain Craig Farrell leading the way. Here's Charles Hoggard, and they're really Vinnie Myler. Well,
he left the referee with no option here, in all honesty. The tackle's made, and they really are made on holding the dead, but it was like pile on there. Let's just pile on, and that's what Vinnie Myler did, but unfortunately he's conceded about 30 metres because of it.
Not a difficult decision for Ian Chatterton to make there. Just outside that 40 now, Hull FC growing in confidence. The Bulls getting possibly a bit more frustrated. Things not going their way so far. It's Kurt Yeaman.
You've got to take your hat off to the Hull FC side at the minute, Bill, because they're playing a very exciting, expansive game, and they are looking after the ball very, very well indeed, and working the sets of 6 out.
Farrell stepping away from 1, from 2. Eventually he's brought down by Jason Bolts. Craig Cook ships that ball on out wide, and it again goes to Ian Bell, and Bell goes to the try line and gets 4 more points. And again, adventure paying off for Hull FC, and the Bradford defence caught out wide again, and Ian Bell gets his 11th try of the season.
Again, some super rugby league. They really are giving them all plenty of air. Again, it's 2 long passes, and then it's his option on the outside, and he picked the outside option, which was Ian Bell, who ran a tremendous line there. We're just looking, just sizing all the situation. Bell comes in and then out and over the white wedge. A superb strike, really. Watch the 2 guys on the outside, 1 inside, 1 outside. He picks the outside runner. That's a tremendous try there from Bell. Super rugby league football.
Hint of forward about the pass?
I say not. I just say I take my hat off to the Hull FC tactics and the practical application of it.
Craig Cook would love to add 2 more points, but he can't do so. He's pushed that across the face of the posts. But Bradford know they've got their work cut out. 5th place is still some way off. Bradford 0, Hull 8. Higgins, big run from the lad from Doncaster. And then Hoggard takes it on still further for Hull FC. Simple but effective.
They're visibly growing in confidence, Bill. I think you can see that they're running that bit harder, they've got that bit more self-belief, and they're really enjoying this game.
Judson, who's caused problems already for this Bradford defence, Luke Judson. Now they're on that 10-metre line. Going down the short side. Bell again, looking for his second, he'll get it. Ian Bell gets another try, and Bradford caught cold there. And Hull really alert to the opportunities and making the most of them. Bell getting his 2nd try.
Yeah, you put this down to Steve Musgrave. Very clever play there on the dummy half. He saw that it was Ian Bell, and he saw he was lined up against the scrum half, Ben Weston. And he's quite a big fella, this centre. Look at the hooker. He went one way, went the other, lined him up against Ben Weston one-on-one. And with that, there's only one winner. It's the big guy, Ian Bell, who really does tear in and crash over, carries 2 plays. That's great determination, great drive of the legs. Thoroughly deserved 4 points there for Ian Bell.
Time to catch his breath, and then he tries to add 2 more points. He's given that a mighty thump. Well, it wasn't a pretty sight, but it got over the bar. And what a game he's having. 2 tries and 1 conversion so far for Ian Bell. Bradford 0, Hull 14. Off goes Nicky Johnson. Johnson has got great pace, and he's looking to exploit that now and get round the outside. Sullivan it was with the run. And Hull offside.
It's quite significant that's the second penalty that Hull have conceded against Bradford 7, and it's at quite a crucial stage of the game and in quite a crucial position, because with the kick it gives the Bradford Bulls Academy once again a foothold in the Hull FC half, and they really must make something of these opportunities very, very quickly if they're going to win this game.
Michael Lyons it was with the run. And then Lee Parker just outside that Hull 20 now. Myler. Change of direction there. Now Craig McDowell. And back to Reardon. And Reardon skips away from a couple of players, eventually ankle tapped and brought down on that Hull 10. Now this is a great position for the Bradford Academy side. Sullivan. Try for Adam Sullivan. And eventually Bradford do get over the line. It's second row Adam Sullivan who gets the try.
Outstanding work from Reardon, set the position up, but look at this ball from McDowell, and we said that Hull were playing it flat, and this is a very, very flat ball indeed from McDowell, and perhaps a question of a forward pass, but certainly Sullivan timed his run, and the line of his run was superb, picking out the gap between 2 Hull FC defenders, and the just reward is 4 points, but I think there'll be a question about whether that was forward or not, but nevertheless the referee didn't think so, and that's a well-deserved 4-pointer for Sullivan and a much-needed one for the Bulls.
Ben Weston has the kicking duties for the Bulls. And 2 more points would be good news for the Bulls. Close that gap. Exactly what they needed. Bradford 6, Hull 14. But they'll have to do a bit more to please that man, the coach. So Craig McDowell's kick has given Bradford head and feet at the scrum in great position, but that's pretty good defence from Hull to force them back where they came from. Now here's Nicky Johnson, and again tigerish defence from Hull, and the half-time whistle comes in the nick of time for Hull. Bang on the second from Ian Chatterton, and there's some work for Darryl Shelford's Bradford Bulls Academy side to do to catch up with the Hull FC Academy side. And Hull really making Bradford work for this 5th place, if that's what the Bulls are going to get. It's Bradford 6, Hull 14 at the break. Second half underway. Bradford kicking off through Ben Weston. Hull holding the lead at the moment, but I sense that Bradford will be pretty pepped up for the start of this second half. You suspect, John, that there might have been 1 or 2 words exchanged in that Bulls Academy dressing room?
Yes, I think Darryl Shelford certainly will have told them about the error count, but more importantly about the penalty count, because it was that gave Hull the field position to launch attacks such as this.
Craig Farrell takes the tackle. Farrell is hurt as well, and he's nursing his hand, I think. Just jarred it maybe, but Hull certainly landed awkwardly there, Farrell. He's back on his feet though, but still, it's that right arm.
Yes,
Craig Farrell.
He's certainly carrying it, Bill. But I'm sure he'll try to run it off and continue. He made a pretty good bust here, and it just fell very, very awkwardly indeed.
And anxiety for coach Steve Crooks. And more immediately, pressure on the whole defence. And in Dunn's place, Jordan Precious is on the pitch for Hull.
Bradford Bulls have really dominated possession and field position this half, but the Hull defence has been resolute up to now, but it really is being tested with the amount of ball that the Bulls are having.
And the big guys driving it in. Lee Parker, another of the big Bulls, big young Bulls. Going from short range now, and that's good defence from Hull.
Sensational defence, yes. They're trying to win it on their own instead of winning it as a team. They've got to structure the play a little more.
Ben Weston. McDowell puts the kick in, and that's one for Craig Farrell to chase and one for Michael Lyons to chase. And who has won that chase? It's Lyons, I think, who's got there. And it was McDowell who did the trick again. And Bradford get the points that the pressure has been building towards.
Yeah, super kick from Craig McDowell. He's at second receiver. There's lots of options wide out. Decides to slide the ball along the ground. It becomes a foot race then, and it's Michael Lyons who wins the foot race. But it just goes to show when you play for others instead of individual efforts, that's the result. It's a beautiful kick. There's lots of options, and the result is 4 points. It's marvellous skill. Look at the weighting on the kick. Keeps his head down, threads it through the defensive line, and he's got the toe there as Michael Lyons has got a superb try.
Ben Weston successful with his one attempt so far. Another 2 points will narrow the gap still further as the Bulls eat away at this Hull FC lead, and Weston has pushed that one wide and he's disgusted with himself. But there's only 4 points in it now. Bradford 10, Hull 14. Bell with another big restart, and Vinnie Myler did well to take that one. That's a wicked kick.
Yeah, it was a tough kick to take, but it's a real interesting stage of the game now. We've just got into the second half, 10-15 minutes, and the Bulls have really fought their way back into the game, and that concession of a penalty just puts them under further pressure still. We can see there he's got the arm between the legs. He's not allowed to do that, and that's the reason that Charles Hoggard was penalised.
Well, Hull trying to slow things down a bit. Stephen Musgrave guilty of that as well. And now another big raw-boned young bull, Paul Smith. It's Craig McDowell. McDowell pops the ball off for Sullivan, and that was a good bit of hurdling from the big guy.
It's been all Bradford this half, though. It's very much like the first team. They just grind the opposition down with their sort of power and their pace, and at the minute you just fancy Bradford to just snatch the game at the death, because they just look as if they're wearing the whole defence down.
And it's not a big Hull side, certainly not on a par with this Bradford academy. That's the kick from McDowell again, but Ian Bell well positioned to take that one, expecting that one.
He'll be disappointed in that McDowell then. If he'd have just used his vision and looked to the side of him, he'd have seen it 4 or 5 players there, and perhaps it'd have been better using the power play and going through the hands that time, just as a variation.
Woodcock takes Hull up to the 40-metre line. Go down the short side. Luke Judson, former York All Black. Big hit from Lee Parker, and the pass was forward as well. Hoggard just overstepped the mark a bit there.
Yeah, Craig Cook doesn't agree with that.
Well, I'm not sure I do either.
No, it's a very much a line call, but when things are going for you...
Oh, no.
No, that wasn't a forward.
Hard done by there.
Certainly, and I think it was one of the touch judges, Bill, who actually signalled, because Mr. Chatterton was correctly positioned 10 metres away with the defensive line. So I think one of the merry flag wavers indicated to Mr. Chatterton that was forward, but he wasn't right, was he?
And it's all stacking up against Hull now. They've got the pressure mounting. Decisions not going their way. Hugo Anyam goes infield. Farrell plugging on despite that hand injury. Aaron Smith. Oh, and Weston's gone without the ball. Fortunately for him, it's gone backwards.
Yeah, they're getting the line calls now, Bill, are the Bulls. You just sense the game's flowing their way, but it's a very, very plucky effort from the Hull FC boys.
Certainly is, and that's good defence. Sullivan put down, and it's Chris Elliott leading the way. McDowell, his kicks have already caused problems. That one hasn't gone a great distance, but Ian Bell's made a mess of that, and it's Reardon who's come up with it. This must be a chance for Lyons to get a second. Lyons is in the corner. Oh, how cruel can sport be? A first half that Ian Bell must have enjoyed, a second half error, and it's put Bradford Bulls on level terms because Lyons has benefited to the tune of 4 points.
The Hull FC guys will be very disappointed here, because McDowell really it was a kick and hope, and Bell was positioned very well indeed. The pressure wasn't much, they just stood around him, but Bell made a complete hash of it. Reardon took advantage of it, full advantage of it, by feeding Michael Lyons to go over. If you see it's a nothing kick, it's a kick and hope, and the Bulls don't go up and challenge. They're letting Bell take that if he wants it, but he just made a hash of it, took his eye off the ball, went one-handed. Reardon came up with it and fed Michael Lyons, who finished, and he'll be a very happy chum at this moment in time. They really are back in the game.
It's a difficult kick for Ben Weston, and this to put the Bulls ahead for the first time in the game, but from way out on the touchline. Weston has missed with that one, and we're level. It's Bradford 14, Hull 14. Well, that's a bit better. Coach might be a bit more pleased, but they haven't got that fifth place secure yet. Reardon now. It's gutsy Hull defence, isn't it? I mean, they must be feeling the pace now, John.
It really is. They've been outstanding, and to say technically they've got nothing to play for, you've just got to take your hat off to the spirit of the side, and also the pride that the players have in their own performance and in the Hull FC shirt. It's been marvellous stuff.
It'll bode well for next season for the Hull Academy, because a lot of these players will be back, and they've just managed to get that ball back.
Again, it's the result of gutsy defence, Bill. They're absolutely marvellous. Steve Crooks really should be very, very proud of his charges tonight.
Chris Elliott. And that's how the ball came loose, and they were first to pounce on it, were Hull. Now then, can they make this tell? Craig Cook trying to go under. The challenge from Ben Noble.
He's small enough to as well, Bill.
Steve Crooks looking on as his side put pressure on this Bradford defence now. The ball comes back to Chris Elliott. Elliott then offloads to Craig Farrell. Farrell sizing up this Bulls defence, looking for a chink in the armour. Can't find one. Musgrave, and the Bulls are caught offside. Now then, what will Hull go for here? 2 points, or...
It's a big call, this one, because they can either go for the 4 or try the more conservative 2, and if they go for the 4, they've always got the option of a drop goal later in the tackle count.
So Hull have decided to go for the 2 points. And it's Jordan Precious looking for them and getting them. And edging Hull again into the lead. It's Bradford 14, Hull 16. The Bulls in possession from the scrum on their own 40. Reardon scoots past one tackle from Ian Bell, but his opposite number, Johnny Woodcock, brings him down. It's really desperate times now for the Bradford Bulls Academy. 5th place is just slipping away from them at the moment. They need to come up with a try to win this one.
It's been a great contest though, Bill, as a team, but also the full-backs. I think Woodcock and Reardon have been two of the outstanding players out there. And it's been a fascinating contest because there's such a contrast in style of play and in size.
Here's Craig McDowell, very influential since coming on, but that's the 5th tackle on the 20. The kick is stabbed through, but again, one of those full-backs. Hull's, in this case, Johnny Woodcock, is in the right place.
He really is a good positional player, is Woodcock. He's been there or thereabouts at all times, and that's another great hit up by Craig Farrell, who's getting in there and showing the forwards how to do it.
Luke Judson now, who hasn't stopped running since the opening minutes.
No, he made that bus in early on, and he's running as hard now, and it's quite significant. It's the Bulls who seem to have dropped in intensity in these last couple of minutes.
What can they come up with? They've gone for a 40-20 of Hull, but it's not going to find touch, and it's instead found the hands of Stuart Reardon. Well, Reardon again has worked his hardest for his side from full-back. Hugo Anyam, and will of course point to Will Reardon to a try he had disallowed. Now, is this the last big effort from the Bradford Bulls Academy side? It needs to be a big effort. Andy Smith tackled just inside that Hull 40. Now McDowell back on the inside to Reardon, but Reardon's lost the ball and Hull have it back. That could be a crucial error from Bradford.
It certainly couldn't. That's just part of the tremendous defence there that we see from Luke Judson. We mentioned his running ability earlier on in the commentary, but that's been sensational defence as well. And Stuart Reardon, he carries nothing back when he carries the ball into the collision, but he more than met his match in Luke Judson there.
Adventurous offload from Chris Elliott. I'm not so sure his coach Steve Crooks would have been impressed with that. It was in a very tight situation, but fortunately Craig Farrell came up with it. Now they're just over the halfway line, and they've knocked that ball on, and I think it's Liam Higgins, and Higgins is furious with that decision. And that's going to give Bradford possession.
Yeah, I think he felt that Lee Parker might have gone a little high on him there, but he certainly lost the ball in the tackle. It's whether there's any interference with the hand, and it doesn't look it from that angle. And it's just a loose carry. He's played pretty well as Liam Higgins, and they'll be disappointed in that, but they just need to dig deep once again to the Hull FC Academy side.
They've got about 3 minutes to try and hold on to this 2-point lead. Bradford have got 3 minutes to get the 2 points, or to try and win this game to get the 2 points they need to clinch 5th place.
Look at that defence, Will. They've worked so hard for each other. It's been an absolute credit to themselves, their coach and their club.
Paul Smith takes the Bulls to just inside that Hull 40, and then the burst from Ben Weston. Weston is tackled, 4 tackles gone. Reardon is there. Reardon sets off, pops the ball out, and fortunately it's gathered by Vinnie Myler, but Myler is under pressure. He gets the ball away well. This could turn out to be a good opportunity for the Bulls, but that's the 5th tackle. Good defence from Hull so far. It's going to come down to a McDowell kick, and he's shown that he can come up with some wicked ones. Woodcock underneath that one and takes it well, just when it mattered. Yes. Johnny Woodcock gets his hands on the ball.
Absolutely superb full-back play there. He kept his head while all around were losing theirs. He just kept his eye on the ball. He didn't need to come off the ground. Feet on the ground, reel the ball in. Now they'll just scoop, scamper, hit up for 5, put a good kick in, try to put it out of bounds, try to wind the clock down. Superb effort from Hull FC.
Craig Farrell, the captain, near the action, wants to be in control of things in the vital closing minutes here. As we've said, Hull 7th. There's not a lot in it for them in this game in terms of position and glory, but what a scalp this will be. To say you've done a double, and what a kick that is from Ian Bell. And it's Bell leading the chase, trying to pin down Stuart Reardon, but Reardon doing all his worth to get out of trouble here, and he's near that touchline. That's great work from Stuart Reardon.
It really is, and he's had a great game, but that just goes to show, but Bell put an outstanding distance kick in, but the chase was in ones and twos. You must play as a team at all time in this game, and if you play as individuals, you get picked off, as Hull FC did there. And this really is the last throw of the dice for the Bulls.
The two coaches know that, and the players must be aware of that. Here's Adam Sullivan, try scorer in the first half for the Bradford Bulls. Paul Smith now. Smith is tackled. That's the 5th tackle. This time it's Ben Weston who's going to put the kick in, but Weston is nailed, and it's Hull who come up with the ball.
Outstanding pressure there from Hull FC. Magnificent. Rather than give Weston a kick at the ball, a chance for a quality play, they put him under pressure, and he had to offload there, and it was an offload in hope, really. Look at the pressure there from Craig Cook. Offload in hope, and it went to a grateful Hull FC hand. And really now they just need to run the clock down, and they've got this game.
Bradford must be kicking themselves. They've had moments of dominance in this game and haven't made it tell. And Hull are holding on to a 2-point lead. Off goes Ian Bell. That's the 5th tackle. Kurt Yeaman. Yeaman will go for a point, and he's pushed it wide. It wasn't the most elegant attempts either from Kurt Yeaman.
He'll be happy though, Bill, because he's put the ball out of bounds. The defensive line will be set, and it's just wasted a few more seconds as well. I'm sure that Darryl Selford will be sending the message on now. It's just catch-up rugby league. You can't drive and power over them. They've got to offload, move the ball about, and just take chances.
Here's Adam Sullivan, trying to drive a big hole in this Hull defence, but that's proved very difficult to do. Hugo Anyam now. Anyam, good yards. Just short of the halfway line now. This must be the last throw of the dice for the Bradford Bulls Academy side. They're shifting the ball wide now, and they've lost it again. It's gone backwards, says the referee. Play on. It's Michael Lyons, and Lyons is tackled into touch. What great defence from Hull that is.
That's a great tackle from Luke Judson. They just picked him out and banged him into touch. That might be the game-winning tackle. That was a superb tackle, because he must be tired. He's done such a lot of work, and he got Michael Lyons, and simply the ferocity of the challenge, assisted by Martin Meadows, has taken him out of bounds, and this set of 6 really is very, very crucial.
But I'm not sure it's nail-biting stuff for Steve Crooks. It's certainly anxious times, as it is for Darryl Shelford. And the upshot of all that is that Hull have conceded the penalty. Judson might have done the good work, but I think the second man in, Jordan Precious, conceded the penalty, and it gives the Bulls a last chance. Ian Chatterton into added time, the referee. Weston, McDowell still going. He's tackled on the 20. The referee's had a look at his watch. This must be the last throw of the dice for the Bradford Bulls. Nicky Johnson just about 5 yards out. Anyam going for glory. Hugo Anyam, legs pumping, looking for that line. Just short of it, and there's the full-time whistle. It's the Hull players who celebrate, and the Bradford players are dejected. The coach knows that the 5th place hangs in the balance. 2 tries for Ian Bell, crucial in that Hull effort. And it all depends on what Halifax Blue Sox do against Wakefield. Here at Odsal it's ended Bradford 14, Hull 16. So that's a big setback for the Bradford Academy side, losing 16 points to 14 at home to Hull. Sullivan and Lyons with 2 were the Bulls' try scorers. Weston kicked 1 goal. For Hull, tries from Woodcock and Bell with 2. Bell and Precious kicked the goals for Hull. And all the results now from the final round of the Academy Championship. Bradford 14, Hull 16, Huddersfield Sheffield 22, St Helens 34, Salford 16, Castleford 30, Wakefield 16, Halifax 16, Warrington 62, London 0, Wigan 18, Leeds 19. And these are the final standings in the Academy Championship. Leeds are the minor premiers. Then come Wigan, Wakefield, Warrington and Halifax take 5th place on points difference from the Bradford Bulls. Well, that's it from the Academy, but there's some fantastic action to look forward to from Super League this week, because